Hey, what's up, everybody? How we doing today? How we doing? Hope you guys are having a good time. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe. So I'm gonna kind of map out. Oh, hey, there we go. So I got my live stream over here on the left side. So let's map out a couple things before we get super into this. First off, thank you so much for joining me. Holy cow, I'm really excited to be able to jib my snowboard, hang out with you guys. It's going to be sick. So, as I said before, in some of the details and the information below, make sure you have a place that is super safe. So, essentially, I have a couch right there. So, if I fall forward, I got a couch there. I got another couch here. Other than that, I have a bunch of open space. You can totally use your snowboard or use a snowboard addiction board or a makeshift snowboard. It's totally up to you, totally fine, totally cool. Which I'm pretty stoked on to be able to. There are advantages to being in your snowboard boots, or there are advantages to being snowboard addiction stuff. So today, for the convenience of being able to talk to you guys, I'm gonna use this snowboard addiction board just to be able to like come out, that kind of thing. And then other days, I'm actually gonna use my snowboard for to make sure I can relate to you guys and talk about what it's like to be on your snowboard. So couple things I wanted to do first was give you a little bit of backstory about me, and then we're going to go into finding the right stance and talking about our equipment just a little bit because equipment is such a big part of of snowboarding. So I want to talk about that, and then we're going to dive into some body positions and talk about how can we change your body positions to simply make you more awesome. That's really one of my biggest goals. And then what we're going to do from there is we're going to use that information from the fundamentals, the body positions. We're going to use that for the rest of the week and then build upon that. So it's awesome that you guys are here, and then we could just take that information and expand on it. That's the whole goal, is that we could have some kind of logical progression. Start now, build, 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 and then all of a sudden we got a pyramid, that kind of thing. So if you guys have any questions or if you're struggling at all during any of this, so we're going to do about between a 10 and 20-minute presentation skills where you guys are actually going to follow along with me. We're going to do this together. And then after that, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. So if you guys are struggling with something that we had done, and then what I can do is in the Q&A portion, we just come back over here. I'll hop on my computer. I'll be able to answer those questions for you guys, and then we'll go from there. So first off, So first off, I was a competitive snowboarder. I competed at Grand Prix and various events throughout the United States, as well as some other, like in other countries and stuff. And I ended up breaking my back. So I broke my back when I was 17 in the half pipe. And then from there, it took me about 3 years mentally to overcome the fear of snowboarding. Literally, I'd hit a 5 foot jump and be terrified. I would be in tears because it was so scary. But then when I was competing prior, I would hit 80-foot jumps and like no big deal. So I I had to deal with a lot of challenges throughout my snowboarding career that has led me to become a snowboard coach, to become an instructor, to be able to do all this stuff for you guys. So I have a lot of firsthand experience of being hurt, overcoming injuries, as well as competing at a high level, which I'm excited to be able to give that information to you guys. And then I also own my own coaching service where I work with athletes that are trying to make it to the Olympics or become professional snowboarders. And so I can use all that information and try to make them awesome as well. So that's that. Sorry, I do have some notes. I want to make sure that I am checking off all the boxes. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm just stoked that you guys are here. I'm not sure how you guys got here, whether it was Instagram, YouTube, and that stuff, but I'm just stoked that you guys are hanging out with me. It's gonna be sick. Holy cow! Definitely comment in the comments. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you guys are hoping to learn out of this experience. What do you guys want to get done? And what's cool about that is after this thing is done, I can go back through, look at the notes, and see what you guys really want to learn, because there's a difference between what you want to learn and what I need to teach you. And if we can find a balance of both of that, whew, we're going to be killing it, which I'm super hyped on. So definitely let me know in the comments on the side about that. So cool. Now let's get into the fun stuff. So you don't have to be strapped in just yet, but we will shortly. I want to talk about snowboard equipment, specifically talking about snowboard profiles and some advantages, disadvantages, more importantly, how we're going to overcome that. So let me grab my snowboard real quick. I'm in this thing right quick. So when it comes to snowboards, we do have a couple different variations of snowboards. We have this that is a little bit more of a rocker. So this thing is shaped like this. Now, the advantages of that, it's really easy to press this board. It also has a center pivot point. So if I were to put this on a table, only this spot in the center of the snowboard is going to be touching, which makes it super maneuverable. What's challenging about a reverse camber board is essentially you have that pivot point, but it's harder to grip the snow at times. So it's going to be a little bit more unstable and a little bit more challenging at high speeds. But the benefit is you can be able to maneuver really fast when you're going slow, as well as nose presses and tail presses are pretty awesome. Now, and then there's this also, we have this thing called a camber snowboard, which is going to be the opposite of this. So this goes like that. A camber board simply goes like this. Now, the biggest difference is there are two contact points that are going to touch the snow. So essentially, this is contacting and that's contacting the ground. And now that's going to be very beneficial when it comes to high speed carves, high speed riding, hitting big jumps. It's going to be very beneficial. The downside is it's a little bit harder to press. Now, why I'm bringing this up, and specifically for the training we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing some nose presses. We're going to be we're going to do some nose presses, some tail presses, some blocks, some 180s, and those kind of things. Now, it's important to understand that when we're on a reverse camber board, you don't have to move your center of mass so far. You can move it a little bit and get a lot of response out of your board. Now, when it comes to a camber board, you can still nose press and tail press, but it may require you to move your hips and body weight a little bit more. I'll get into more specifics of that, but I want you guys to know kind of the pros and cons of the snowboards, as well as there are ways to get the same performance, whether you have a hybrid board, a camber board, or a reverse camber board. There's ways to get the same performance, but we have to get our body to do different things. So I'll try to touch upon that here and there as we're doing specific drills and that kind of stuff. But just kind of keep that in mind. They're going to be able to achieve a lot of the tasks, even though you have different styles of snowboards. Pretty cool, right? All right, guys. So what I want you to do is I want you to strap in your snowboards and get ready to do some stuff. We're going to work on our alignment. Now, I do have headphones in that are wireless, so I'm still going to be able to talk to you guys from over there. Definitely let me know if the quality of the audio is down or anything, just so I know what's going on. But yeah, let me know. All right, so I'm going to strap in, but that's also why I got this thing, so it's quick and easy. So let me know if you guys are going to be able to see me. Real quick, if you haven't noticed what I know my head's cut off a little bit, but what you'll notice here is that I took a hoodie lace or a shoelace and I put it on the ground, and then I took a piece of tape and I put it at each end of it. Now, why that's important, it's going to do two things for us. So what it's going to do is it's going to give me an indication of where the downhill is. Just like we're snowboarding, we go downhill. If I'm hitting a jump, we go downhill. Now, this is going to be an indication of where downhill is. Now, I'm going to refer to this quite a bit as downhill. I'm also going to talk about jumping on, like, let's say we're going to hit a rail, which we will do eventually, is we can use this as a rail, and I may have to hop in from my toe side, or I can hop in from my heel side. So this is a good indication of like where downhill is, but we can also use this as the feature. Now, let's say we're doing a 360. Well, I want my whole board to do a 360, and I can make sure I get back to the same line. So pretty cool. All right, moving on. Let's strap in. Make sure you guys are all strapped in. Follow along with me. Now, I'm going to scoot back just a little bit so that you guys can kind of see my whole body. Yeah, right about there, right? For most of my body. I'm going to strap in. Now, one of the biggest challenges us as snowboarders, and most likely 90% of snowboarders face this, essentially what happens is we naturally perceive our world like this, right? If I go to the grocery store, I'm grabbing a piece of fruit like this. I shake somebody's hand like this. I walk like this. Now, when we snowboard, we essentially need to turn a whole entire body, but our natural reaction is to take our shoulders and turn like this. Now, as we turn like this actually makes snowboarding a lot harder. We do this because we want to perceive our world here, and I want to grab the can. So what I want you guys to do in place, I want you guys to feel this. I want you to take your lead shoulder, for me it's the shoulder, and I want you to open up your lead shoulder and get your shoulders to point downhill. Now, as we're standing in this position, I can already feel, and you guys may be feeling this as well, is that my hip is rotated and then my back knee is actually folding in. So I'll kind of point like this. I'm folding in. Now, you'll notice that my hips are pushed back towards this couch. This knee is bent down while this one extends. This is a very challenging, sorry, I know my head's cut off a little bit. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. Sorry, guys. I'm going to just spice that up just a little bit. Okay, hopefully that worked. Okay, we'll find a happy medium here shortly. Okay, so what that ends up doing as you're open in this position, I physically feel a pain in my knee. A lot of my knee issues comes from being in this position. So imagine we had hit a jump and I weigh 100 pounds. We have 5 times as much force going down, so about 500 pounds. I have 500 pounds of pressure landing on this back knee. What's going to happen to that knee? Well, it's trying to absorb all of that impact, all 500 pounds, because this knee's not doing anything. But this knee right here is twisted in, and this makes your knee vulnerable. A lot of these injuries come from this position. So that's why I'm talking about it at length, is because this position hurts knees, and it's not awesome. So back to pointing our board straight down the hill, I have my shoulders open. What we need to do, and I would say about the majority of the time we snowboard, we want our lead shoulder to be perpendicular to our lead foot, simply meaning I want my shoulder to point in the same direction as my nose. I want my hip to be in that. Now I'm in this athletic position. I'm able to bend both my knees at the same time. And the only thing we got to do is take our eyes and point in the direction we need to go. Now, if I were to jump and absorb, so I want you guys to do about 3 to 5 jumps with your knees pushed out, with your tailbone tucked in, your chest upwards, and I want you to jump and absorb the terrain. Notice how strong you feel. So we're gonna do about 3 to 5. So I'm gonna do feel strong. I'm gonna do 2 more. Feel strong. 1 more. Feel strong. Okay. So with that, I want you guys to feel that your knees are going out. This is a very, very, very strong position. This position is very useful for when I'm doing a toe side turn. Now watch this. If I take my lead shoulder and point in the direction I'm going, I can still use my knees and I'm in this strong position. If I want to go heel side, I go that way. Totally cool. Now let's say I wanted to do a tail press. So we're going to get into a couple exercises right now that's going to help us understand this lead shoulder position. So as you guys feeling good, you're feeling ready, what we're going to do is we're going to jump forward about 4 inches, and then, we're going to jump forward about 4 inches and then absorb the terrain. And then we're going to do that one more time. But the second time we do this, we're going to shift our hips back a little bit while keeping our shoulder and our hip pointed in the same direction. Essentially, what I want us to do is be in this position, but I want to be able to move forward. I want to move back, and I want you guys to become familiar with what it's like to snowboard essentially with our shoulder closed just a little bit. So let's do a tail press. I'm going to hop forward, and I'm going to apply about 60% of my weight on my back foot while keeping everything aligned. Notice that this knee, I'm going to right here, notice that this knee is not folding in, but it's strong. Now what I want to do after being strong is I want to hop back to my normal position, back to that strong stacked position. So let's do that about 3 more times. So I'm going to hop forward and I'm going to bend my back knee, but notice my shoulder, hips, and knees are all pointing in the same direction. My knee looks like a very strong position. I'm going to hop back to center with my knees out. So that's twice. Let's do it 1 more time. I'm going to hop forward, tail press, back to center. Now, it's easy for me to do this while I'm looking at you guys, but I got to be able to do this thing pointing down the line. So I call it down the line or down the hill. What's a good way for us to think about that is if you can set your camera, or not your camera, if you can set your computer or your phone in front of you so that you're kind of naturally always looking that direction. Now, when I do this tail press, I'm looking at you. Boom. Let's continue with this, but we're going to go on a nose press. So with our nose press, we're going to keep our shoulder pointed straight down the hill towards the camera, and I'm going to shift forward. So we're going to do 3 of these. So we're going to hop forward 4 inches, and I'm going to land in a nose press looking at the camera, and then I'm going to pop back to center. Cool. Pretty awesome, right? Let's do that twice, or 2 more times. So I'm going to hop nose press, and then back. Okay, 1 more time. Nose press, and back. Cool. So does that make sense? Essentially, what I want you to do is be in a stronger, more athletic position when it comes to landing. That's going to be extremely important, is using that position when we're landing. We can also use it when we're going off of a jump and those kind of things. So let me know what you guys think about that. Haven't seen too many chats in here. What do you guys think about that so far? Do you guys struggle? Do you guys struggle with landing or being in this position? Is this a weird thing for you guys? Sorry, I got a little notification there. So let me know in the comments over here on the side if you guys feel like that's something that you guys struggle with or not. Cool. Sorry, I just wanted to refresh this. All right, so give me 1 second, guys. I want to tick back to, okay, press this. Cool. So as as we snowboard, essentially our snowboard, it has a lot of, it's pretty slick underneath our feet, right? So our board naturally wants to do this. During all these exercises, when we're doing during all these exercises when we're snowboarding, there's a lot of resistance from our feet, but we got to exaggerate these movements. Now, when we talk about our stance, we want to be in a strong stance, but there are times that we want to get out of this stance, which is totally like totally uh sorry. So this stance, we want to hang out. This stance, there's a lot of opportunities to be in the stance. And like I said, if I'm trying to pump as hard as I can, I'm trying to be in this position where I'm able to use both my knees and explode really, really high. There's opportunities to land and absorb that terrain and try to be nice and quiet. Now, let's say we're trying to do a board slide. Well, if I were to do a board slide, obviously my upper and lower body has to separate a little bit. And we're going to go into some crazy details when it comes to board sides and stuff. But I want you to know that there are times to be able to be here, and there's times to be kind of twisted. Is kind of what I'm getting at. I see that you guys are doing some chats. Okay, so Linda, hey, thanks for joining. Holy cow. Okay, so when do a press do you pull up the outstretched leg? How? Okay, cool. That's a great question. I'm so stoked that you asked that. Okay, so I'm going to answer Sean's question real quick. Okay, you have a stiff board, which is definitely going to make it challenging. Think about, if you can, just try this for me, Sean, and then I'm going to go to Linda. Sean, think about taking your hips and sinking down and then pressing your hip and bringing it back a little bit more. If I can apply more pressure to the end of the board, that may help. But if you have a super gnarly board, that's totally okay, because you can still shift back and just get used to this exercise. And then as far as Linda, there's a couple options if you want to get a bigger press. What you can do is, I kind of just talked about it with Sean. Take your back hip and pull back. And then if you want to amplify this position, you simply retract your lead knee and create tension. And you can lift the board a little bit higher. So then that can also help too, which is kind of dope. Kind of dope. Feel good snowboard. What up, dog? How you doing? How you doing? Cool. So that was pretty cool. Now we're gonna go into this little bit of a tail press exaggeration kind of exercise, just so we can totally understand these body positions. So we're gonna rock back and forth on our snowboard. This will be kind of fun. I'm actually kind of cool to try this with you guys. I did this progression with one of my friends the other day. So pretty excited about this. We're gonna do a nose block and a tail block. Now we're gonna simplify the crap out of this so we can build success and have a good time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure you have a nice area. What I want you guys to think about doing, whether you're on a snowboard or a snowboard addiction board, is find a direction that is more natural to you. So for me, I'm gonna rock backwards so that you guys can see my board. Now, obviously, as you're on a stiff board like Sean or Linda, you may have a stiff board as well. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start using some motion to start getting our board to get a little bit higher. Now, our end goal is to simply take our hand and try to touch the board just a little bit. And if we can get that to go up higher and hold it for even a split second, that would be pretty incredible. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna rock backwards, but this principle and steps still apply whether you're going forward or backwards. So what I wanna do is I wanna take my hips and I'm gonna lean the opposite direction of where I wanna go. So because I wanna go back towards this wall, I'm gonna press weight. I'm gonna put about 75% of weight on my lead foot, and then I'm gonna shift my weight back and extend my foot kind of quick and try to get the nose to rise up just a little bit, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna shift forward and I'm gonna rock back. Now, at first, I don't want you to go super crazy and fly through the wall, but with that stiff board like John's probably having, you may be able to lean back just a little bit and then progressively over like 5 attempts, let's see how much we can get that nose of that snowboard up. So let's do it about 5 times. So I got my weight on my front foot. I'm shifting back. 1. I'm gonna do it again. Shift. 2. Shift. If you need to keep your knees extended or straight at first. It's totally fine. So I'm gonna do 2 more. Kind of dope, kind of dope. After that, I'm gonna do 1 more. Cool. Now, each time that you did that, how much further were you able to trust that position? Like I said, you want to progressively do it. So I'm not just flinging myself against this wall. I want to do it super progressively. And if you have a couch and you need to like put your hand on the couch a little bit and just get yourself to rock back up, that's totally fine too. If you want to rock back and then you happen to like sit down on a couch, just try to make some just make sure that if you're doing this, you're trying to get really high up there, that it's a safe place, right? It's kind of cool. Now, once once I'm feeling pretty good about that and I'm able to get my board to kind of get up in the air, and let's say it's getting about 6 inches up there, what I can do next is I can take my knee and I'm going to bring my knee up and across to this shoulder. So it looks like this. I'm going to kind of bring it up. Notice by just retracting my knee and bringing it up that I'm able to get the board up just a little bit more. Now, if I keep my spine more vertical and my weight in the center of my board, meaning toe side and heel side, I'm going to be able to balance a little bit easier. Okay, hold on. I saw a comment. Okay, so we're going to get there. We're going to get there. So if you're able to take this knee and shift across, look how the nose of my snowboard is getting way higher. Now I want to keep my hand and I want to dangle it out in front. As I shift, I'm going to take my knee, go across my body, and I may have to take my shoulders and lean for that grab just a little bit, just like this, and then go here. Notice that I'm able to push my hips back, my knee across, and grab this snowboard. Cool. I want you guys to give that a try. Tomorrow, I will be using my actual snowboard with snowboard boots so that we can all snowboard together, which is going to be super awesome. Obviously, I'm excited for that. So let's see if we could try that. Let's do about 3 to 5 of those attempts. Now, within your comfort zone, just progress that. This may be something that you get right now, or this may be, oh, cool, you're getting so close. Let's go. Okay, so make sure that you're staying nice and balanced, that you're shifting that weight back, and then really retract that lead leg. That's what most people struggle with. I did a block challenge where I did this like back and forth like 10 times. The biggest challenge is people just went like this, or sorry, that was a bad example. They kind of stayed really stiff and they just leaned back, but notice how far away my hand is. Ooh, I can't even balance. If I'm able to really exaggerate that knee across my body, then it's going to be a lot easier. Now, we could also do this the other direction. Maybe you were feeling, for me, I was on my tail. Maybe tail I thought was going to be easier. We could also do the same progression for our nose. So let's take about, no way, you touched your board. Let's go. Veronica, let's go. That's so exciting. You touched it. Let's go. Okay, so what I was saying is, let's say that tail I thought was intuitive. We could also try the other direction. So we're going to go through the same thing. If you haven't gotten it or you have gotten it and you want to move on, totally cool. Or while I explain this again, the other direction, you can keep working on that. That's totally up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the progression. For me, it's my nose now, which is going to be the opposite. But let's try the opposite and see if we can get that one close. Ideally, while we have the time, if I could do both, then I could start rocking back and forth. That could be really sick. And then I posted an Instagram post like this where I did a bunch of them, and then I did like a hashtag tail block challenge. So if you guys are getting this, you're feeling this, let's hashtag it, and I'll share you on my story on my gram. 100%. I'm gonna do that for you guys. I'd be super hyped on that. So I'm gonna go through the tail block or nose block progression really fast, which I'm super hyped on. So let's do. Remember, we're gonna lean forward and we're gonna rock. We're gonna do that 5 times on the new direction this time. If you want to keep working on the old direction, totally cool. But I'm going to move on to the new direction. So that was 3. In this position, I'm trying to get used to my board and how my board flexes. Does my board require me to go really, really aggressive that way? Hey, Nat, can you get this? Oh, never mind. Sorry, there was an alarm going off. We're good, though. We're good. But we're trying to figure out how our board feels. We're trying to figure out the flex pattern. I may have to shift my hips really far over, and sometimes I don't have to shift it. So I'm gonna do that 3 to 5 times. Now, after I've done that 3 to 5 times, I'm gonna shift my weight and I'm gonna retract my knee across the body. Boom. I don't have to grab yet. It just felt right. So knee across. One. I'm gonna do that 5 times. 2, 3, 4. Now 5. Now after that, I'm gonna let my hand dangle down towards the tip of the board that's coming up. So my hand is gonna go hang down there. My knee's gonna go across, and if I need to take my spine and bend my spine this way to grab it, I can do that too. So let's try that 3 to 5 times. Okay, Kenny says thinking about bringing my shoulder to my knee to the opposite shoulder is a game changer, right? It's kind of sick because if I just bring my knee up, it doesn't get the board high enough. But if I bring it across, all of a sudden that grab is there, which is kind of sick. So shift that weight, grab that snowboard. What's also awesome, if you feel like the ground or the surface that you're on is really slick, what you can do is get a rug and flip it upside down. Or yeah, a rug, flip it upside down. And there's usually like a sticky rubber kind of thing that's on the bottom. If your board's able to grip the ground, it's a lot easier for you to shift your weight and really stick into the ground. Because if it's sliding everywhere, it may be a lot challenging, a lot more challenging. So find a surface that's kind of soft in terms of like, this is safe, but like a rubber mat will be able to grip the ground like really, really good. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Linda says, yeah, that's my problem. I'm moving all over my rug. Okay, so if you have like a rug that's slick, if there was a way if there's a way to get I literally have, I would show you guys, but I don't want to drop the camera. I have like a rug on the like a mat that I flipped upside down that's rubber, and then my board actually stays on that. So that could be something that's going to be very, very helpful, Linda, is finding something that allows the board to stick to the ground, and then flexing your board is going to be way easier. And if it's way easier, essentially it's going to teach you body positions, right? If I can teach you body positions and how to get it, and then you're able to learn that and then take it to snow later, which is what we're trying to do. So that could be super cool. Okay, so then Veronica says one direction is way easier than the other. Totally, you have that. Like, there's always like a. It's funny when I walk down a bike path and I'm talking to somebody, I like being on the left side because I naturally want to face them because I'm a regular rider. Where if I was goofy, I'd naturally want to go that way. So it's funny because in our everyday, we're like conditioning ourselves to be like one-sided or non-symmetrical or asymmetrical, whatever you want to call it. So that's cool. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more. Comment down below in this chat, or I guess it's over there. If you guys are struggling with any of this, I want to do a couple more of these tail blocks, and then we're gonna jump into a Q&A. It's about 30 minutes so far. So we've been here for 30 minutes, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to do some Q&As. The rest of the week, we're also gonna have some opportunity to do some jumps and some grabs. I'm gonna do that for you guys. We're also gonna do some rail tricks with board slides, front boards, those kind of things. We're also going to work on some spins. So make sure you guys come back because we've got some spins. Let me know also what you guys are looking forward to actually learning, which would be super dope. All right, so I can read my computer from here. If you guys are struggling with anything specifically, let me know. But what I want to do is I want to try to link a couple of these together. My goal for you guys is to, yes, one side may be easier or harder than the other, but can we practice both sides so now it's becoming super natural to go the normal direction, whether it's like nose or tail, which is kind of sick. Okay, so I'm so excited for this. Like this whole training is going to be sick because there's so much more we can do, like spins and stuff. Sorry, just bleh. All right, so remember back to our stance, right? If my lead shoulder's open here, look how far away. This is such a great example. Look how far away my grab is if I'm back here. Don't forget about the first thing we learned. It's so much harder if my shoulder's open. If I get this shoulder to be stacked, the first thing we learned was our stance. And that's why we're doing these grabs, is because if I can keep my shoulder pointed straight out, look how easy it is when my shoulders are in the right position. This position is so much harder. Now, if we were to go off of a jump and do a grab, watch this. This is so much harder to do the nose grab versus keeping my shoulders in a line. Okay, We got Veronica says, it's so sick. I did not think I could do a nose or tail block. That's awesome. Let's go. Remember, film it. I want to see them. Also, because we're in this special group, because you guys are amazing, if you guys are struggling with these, shoot me a DM on the Instagram. Tell me you're from the Patreon page and give me a video, and I'll give you feedback specifically for you because I want to help you. Back to what I was saying. Shoulders over our nose and tail. What I'd like you guys to do now, we're going to do 3 to 5 attempts of this, is what I want to do is I want to shift to 1, and I want to bring my knee across and just tap the snowboard. Just tap. Let that board go down. Go to the other side. Try to tap it. We're going to rock back and forth. Try to do that if you can. Remember everything we've talked about. I'm bringing my knee across, keeping my shoulders in that position that are straight forward to make this as easy as possible. I'm going to try to do about 5 in a row. So let's try that. And I know that on a snowboard, this is probably way harder. So like I said, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to bring my snowboard and I'm going to jib with you guys, but it's completely doable both on your snowboard or one of these little boards. Cool. So, cool. All right, guys, I'm going to end that there just for now. What we did cover was our body positions in terms of, we did cover our body positions and why they're so important to be in a strong position. This position is going to help us do a tail grab, a nose grab. It's going to help us land. It's going to help us do tail blocks. It's going to help us do nose presses and tail presses. Simply by keeping our shoulders in a stronger position, it's literally going to make you a better snowboarder. And then when it comes to doing turns, it's going to be also super helpful to do turns as well. So it's really important that we do understand that stuff now when we go into jumps and 180s and stuff. So we're going to do, what I'd like to do is build you guys a progression on 180s. They're going to lead to a 270. That are going to lead to a 360. And the whole goal is to be able to get you guys closer to that 360. So when you guys get back on snow later this year, that you guys can get a 360. Can we do that right now? So that's going to be coming up most likely tomorrow, but maybe the next day. Also, there's a lot of things that I do want to teach you guys. And I don't want you guys to be scared away from like, oh, 360s, that's so out of my league. Whether it's out of your league or not, we're going to build a progression to help get you there or expose you to the steps to get you there. So I don't want you to be scared about doing the 360 because we're going to take it mellow. We're going to take it easy. We're not going to just like go chuck because that's not my style, right? Remember, I broke my back. I'm not about that trying to get you guys wrecked anymore. So don't be scared of that stuff. I want to be able to be here with you guys and do that. So let's jump into a Q&A specifically for you guys. Now, let's unstrap. Hit me up with a question. Do you guys got any questions about tail blocks, nose blocks, shoulder positions, where we should use them, how we should use them, any other struggles that you guys have, anything that I covered or anything I didn't cover? Shoot me a message right here. I'm going to probably hang out for like another 5-10 minutes with you guys. We'll just kind of see how the conversation goes. But if you guys got questions, this would be the perfect time to type them in the chat right now, and then we could do that. So while you guys are going to be typing in the chat, I'm pretty stoked about the shoulder alignment stuff because when I was younger, that first thing we learned about my shoulder, my shoulder being open and my knee like caving in. I used to do this backside 720, and every time I'd land, I would literally, I'll show you right here. I'll show you real quick. Every time I landed, my knee would cave in like this, and I would actually dislocate my knee. And I would actually dislocate my knee because I applied so much pressure into this position. And now it's like, oh, it's so vulnerable. It would hurt so much. But then I understood how to land, which was that first exercise we did. I understood how to land, and I could land sevens like probably 9 out of 10 times, if not 10 out of 10 times, because I utilized that body position to bend my knees, get my weight to land both feet at the same time, because it gives me that much more of a chance to, I have a better chance of actually absorbing the terrain with both of my knees. So literally being able to understand this concept helped me from dislocating my knee again. And it literally made me a better snowboarder because I could land more. If I know how to land more and I land, like, let's say I land 9 out of 10 tricks and I did 100 of them and 90% of them I landed. Now, mentally and fear-wise, I would have less fear because I had more success. If I only landed this one time out of 100 tries, I'd be terrified because I have nothing but a negative association. Now that I have like 9 out of 10 times I land this trick, yeah, I feel good about it. So that's why this stance stuff is so freaking sick, so important. All right, Kenny says, can you apply these principles when spinning in a nose and tail block? Okay. So, Kenny, real quick. So, you want to know, can you apply these principles when spinning in a tail block? So, if we're trying to spin in a block, which obviously, Kenny, this is pretty advanced, which is pretty awesome. So, we can cater to kind of a little bit of everybody. What I like to do on a block, I could go. So when you're doing a block and you want to spin it, you want to think about opening your shoulder and then you're rotating and then keep your core tight. You'll rotate. And then specifically, you want to get back into your stance when you land. So it'd be like that. Now I'm in the strong position. You can do that for front side or back side for sure. Okay. Veronica says, I have a rocker dominant hybrid with soft flex. It's easier for me. For sure. And that's the thing about snowboards is there's pros and cons. Uh, what the rocker makes it so much fun and easy, but if you're trying to go 100 miles an hour, it's a little bit challenging, right? So there's pros and cons, but this is so sick that you found a trick that utilizes those board performances or that board flex pattern, which is cool. Priscilla says, I wakeboard and have for 3 years, but live in New York City now. I'm close to big snow and want to transfer some tricks. What are beginner feature obstacles to learn tricks on a snowboard? On a wakeboard, I know all my 360s and 180s, which is so sick. And then because there's no rope, spinning will be different. Okay, so what she's saying is when you do it, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you're doing a 360 on a rope on a wakeboard, you could essentially pull the rope and the rope can assist you in your rotation. When you're snowboarding, it's a lot more determined on your shoulders and how your board is connected with the snow. So let's see. I just want to read this question again to make sure I'm answering it correctly. When I wakeboard, you want to transfer tricks. What are good beginner feature and obstacles to learn tricks on a snowboard? So then that's what we're gonna go through in the next couple of days. Is like on a snowboard, like a tail press and a nose. Well, more like a tail press. Nose presses are really challenging, but on a tail press, you could do. Sorry, on a snowboard, your tail press is going to be a really good trick, and then we are going to get into frontside 180s and backside 180s. Now, I'll just kind of talk about it real quick for you. When you have that wakeboard, you're being pulled from this direction, right? You're being pulled, and you're able to like use your shoulders. Essentially, you're kind of doing the same thing, not the same thing, but kind of. When I'm trying to go for a 180, I guess I wasn't strapped in here. When you're going for a 180, you want to take your shoulder and you want to wind up, and then you're going to have to throw it. But it's all about where your shoulders are. That's going to help dictate where the rest of your body goes. So imagine that your upper body is representing the rope. If I want to go this direction, I got to throw my lead shoulder there. But more importantly, I got to follow up with my back shoulder. So it looks like this. But notice that I landed back in this stance. So 180s are super good to learn. 360s, which we'll get into another day, Priscilla. We're going to get into it another day. We're going to do 360s, and it's about understanding that we got to throw our shoulder instead of pulling on a rope. We got to throw our shoulder, if that makes sense, for sure. Do you guys got any other more guys got any more questions? We've actually been here for quite a while, and there's quite a few of you guys still here. I'm so hyped to be hanging out with you guys. Like, seriously. I hope you guys are doing good during this whole like thing that we're going through, right? So it's I don't know how to describe it. It's just a weird thing. Okay, Veronica says this is the first time I am covered in sweat since the lockdown. Let's go. This was fun. Thanks, Tommy. Yes. Okay. I'm actually sweating a lot too. I don't know why. I have a long sleeve shirt on, a hoodie, this thing, and I had my fireplace running earlier, and I'm like trying to hang out. So, all right, guys. So a couple things I'm going to ask from you guys is if you guys got any more questions, definitely reach out below. on our main page, on the Patreon page, you guys can, I'm going to type something up where you guys could simply send me any questions or any topics you want to see specifically covered. Let's say you want to know how to spin a 360 front side, or specifically backside, or specifically switch. Hit me up with that question. I'm going to type this out when this is done. I'll just say, hey, what do you guys want to learn? Add that down below. Let me know for sure. Got another question here. Feels Good says, in wake, they use just counter rotation for flat ground 180s. Oh, interesting. Anyone from New York City, when this is over, let's go to Big Snow in New Jersey and practice what Tommy taught us. Dude, I want to go to New Jersey this year. I want to go to New Jersey in that indoor snow place. Let me know, like, any information about that if you guys got it. Linda says, I'm having troubles grabbing the end of my board, so I'm going to wait to see you on your snowboard tomorrow. My board might be a little stiff. Okay, and Linda, if you want, you can hit me up on Instagram, send me a video of you doing that, because then I can be able to tell you specifically what you're struggling with, and whether it's like your spine's not moving enough, you're not rocking back, like whatever it is. If I have a visual, I'm going to be able to like give you that much more information, as well as I'm going to rock that snowboard tomorrow. So tomorrow's warm up is going to be a couple of these exercises that we've learned, and then we're going to add some more stuff to it, which is going to be nice because we can build upon it, like I said. So let's do that. So send me a video if you have it, if you want to do that. If not, tomorrow I'm going to be rocking a snowboard for you guys. I wonder how many of you guys are rocking snowboards versus not snowboards. So, okay, cool. Linda says, cool. Will do. Thanks, Tommy. All right, guys. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, we are going to end it there. So you guys have been awesome. I've been super stoked on this. Let's keep it going. We're going to do some more stuff tomorrow. Make sure you guys show up. I'm going to do the same thing where you guys just be able to go to Patreon page, get this link, and then be able to shoot on, come hang out, show up about 10 minutes early so that we can start right at like 4 o'clock my time. And on that note, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Keep killing it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go. All right, guys. Have a great night, great morning, wherever you guys are. I don't know. Okay. Field says it's 1 p.m. here. Dang, it's early. It's like almost my bedtime. All right, guys. We'll see you guys